The courthouse was crowded, the polished floors echoing with footsteps as lawyers shuffled papers and defendants waited nervously for their turn. Among them stood Maya Thompson, a tall black woman dressed in a simple navy blue suit. She carried herself with poise, her head held high despite the heavy stares fixed on her. To some, she looked like just another civilian caught up in the judicial system, and her calm silence gave little away. As she approached the front of the courtroom, a group of police officers seated nearby began to whisper and chuckle, their laughter growing louder. They assumed she was just another ordinary woman about to beg for leniency. Their mockery was cruel, but Maya's face betrayed nothing. She had endured worse than laughter, and she knew exactly what was coming. The judge cleared his throat, preparing the docket. "Ms. Thompson, please state your name and reason for being here," he said. Maya stepped forward, her voice steady and strong. "Maya Thompson, I'm here on official business," she answered. The officers burst into laughter again, shaking their heads, muttering jokes under their breath. "Official business." One scoffed.
"Yeah, sure."
The judge raised a brow, glancing between Maya and the group of laughing officers, unsure whether to dismiss her claim. But Maya remained calm, her expression unreadable, her eyes sharp with quiet authority. The snickering officers leaned back in their seats, smirking as if they had already won some invisible contest. One whispered, "What's she gonna say next? That she's the president?" The laughter rippled again, disrespect echoing through the courtroom. Maya tightened her grip on her briefcase, every second sharpening the storm she kept inside. She was no stranger to prejudice, no stranger to being underestimated. She had spent her entire career facing skepticism, whispers and laughter. But she always let her credentials speak louder than the noise, and today would be no different. The judge asked again, this time with faint irritation, "Ms. Thompson, if you're here for official business, please clarify your role." The courtroom grew quiet, waiting for her response. Maya drew in a deep breath, lifted her chin, and spoke words that silenced the laughter instantly. "I am the Director of Homeland Security." Her declaration cut through the air like lightning, leaving a stunned hush in its wake. The officers who had mocked her froze, their smirks vanishing into wide-eyed shock. Whispers rushed across the courtroom as everyone tried to process what they had just heard. The judge blinked rapidly, almost as if he doubted his own ears. "Director of Homeland Security," he repeated slowly. Maya nodded, calmly opening her briefcase and pulling out her federal credentials. She handed them to the bailiff, who passed them to the judge. The seal was unmistakable, the authority undeniable. Gasps filled the room as the truth dawned on everyone. The very woman they had mocked was one of the most powerful figures in national security, a person entrusted with protecting the country itself. The officers' faces flushed red with embarrassment, their arrogance collapsing under the weight of her truth. The judge cleared his throat, shifting uncomfortably in his seat as he examined the credentials. "This is highly irregular," he stammered. "We were not informed of your presence today." Maya stood firm, her voice unwavering. "I came unannounced because I wanted to see how justice is carried out in this courtroom, how ordinary citizens are treated, and whether fairness exists without titles or power. What I saw today," she glanced directly at the officers, "was prejudice masquerading as authority." Her words stung, and the silence that followed was heavier than any gavel strike. The officers fumbled, their earlier bravado gone. One stuttered, "Wit, we didn't know?" But Maya's eyes burned into them with calm fire. "That's the problem," she said. "You didn't care to know. You judged based on skin, on gender, on assumptions." The courtroom shifted uncomfortably, the weight of her words undeniable. For the first time, the officers who had laughed felt small, their power stripped by the very person they had tried to belittle. No defense could excuse their behavior, and no excuse could undo the humiliation of their exposure. The judge, now fully aware of the gravity of the situation, leaned forward. "Director Thompson, please accept my apologies on behalf of the court." Maya nodded curtly, not for validation but as acknowledgement. She had not come to humiliate anyone, she had come to reveal the truth. She turned toward the gallery, where ordinary citizens sat watching, their faces lighting with a mixture of awe and pride. To them, she was more than a high-ranking official. She was proof that dignity and strength could rise above mockery and prejudice. Maya continued, her voice steady but carrying the weight of authority. The law is supposed to be blind, yet too often, those who enforce it use it as a weapon against the vulnerable. Today I walked in as a citizen, not as a title. And today I was mocked. Imagine what happens here every day to those without power, those without a voice. Her words echoed, leaving an undeniable mark on everyone listening. The officers sat stiffly, unable to meet her eyes, their laughter now a memory burned with shame. As Maya prepared to leave, the judge stood, an unusual break in protocol. "Thank you for reminding us of our duty," he said quietly. The officers shifted, wanting to disappear, but the lesson was carved deep into their pride. They had laughed at a woman they thought powerless, only to discover she held the power to rewrite their fate. In one swift revelation, Maya had turned their mockery into a mirror, showing them the ugliness of their own behavior. Outside the courtroom, reporters swarmed, having heard whispers of what transpired inside. Cameras flashed, microphones pushed forward, questions overlapping. Maya paused on the courthouse steps, her posture tall and unshaken. She spoke to them as she had spoken inside, with clarity and conviction. "I wasn't there today as Director Thompson," she said. "I was there as a black woman in America, and what happened inside proves why accountability is not optional. It's necessary." Her words became headlines before the evening was over, spreading far beyond the courthouse walls. In the days that followed, the story went viral. Videos and transcripts circulated, and across the nation, people celebrated Maya's courage. For many, she became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that titles and power are meaningless if justice is not equally applied. The officers involved faced internal investigations, and the courthouse underwent policy reviews. The laughter that once filled the courtroom became a turning point for reform. Maya had not only defended her dignity but had ignited change. Yet for Maya, it was never about humiliation or revenge. It was about truth. She continued her work at Homeland Security with the same commitment as before, but now her influence stretched further. Citizens wrote to her, thanking her for standing up, for showing that even the highest officials faced the same struggles as ordinary people. She read their letters late at night, a quiet smile on her face, knowing her moment of vulnerability had become their strength. Years later, the courthouse still remembered that day. Judges, officers, and citizens alike retold the story of the woman they mocked, who stood tall and revealed herself as the very force sworn to protect the nation. It was a story of respect, justice, and the power of truth. And for every person who doubted her, Maya Thompson had shown that authority is not about laughter or fear. It is about integrity, and integrity always wins. This has been another story from Echo Tales, where voices rise, truth shines, and lessons echo far beyond the moment.